My name's Ethan. I'm 29. I stock shelves in a supermarket, and last New Year's Eve, I let my best friend talk me into doing something stupid in the snow. If he'd shown up 10 minutes later, I'd have already gone home, heated up leftovers, and fallen asleep before midnight like every other year. Instead, I'm still here, and I can't hear fireworks anymore without feeling like I'm back in that cabin. We grew up together, me and Jake. Same apartment block, same school, same cheap paper sparklers on New Year's as kids. Back then, December 31st meant staying up late on the couch, our parents drinking something for adults in the kitchen, while we froze on the balcony and watched the city blow up in color. We had this dumb tradition. At midnight, we'd run outside, no matter how cold it was, and yell our promises for the new year into the empty street. I'll get abs. I'll stop failing math. I'll move out of this building. Most of those promises didn't happen. We grew up, drifted a bit. He started bouncing between jobs, parties, people. I started working nights at the store. We texted sometimes, but New Year's together, that stopped after we turned 25. Until last year. It was December 31st, 9 p.m. The store was almost empty. People had already panic-bought their drinks and snacks. I was just facing shelves, waiting for the clock to hit closing time. Christmas lights blinked in the front windows. Some cheap holiday song looped over the speakers for the 10th time. My manager was in the office watching something on his phone. Outside, snow was coming down in fat, lazy flakes under the streetlights. I was stacking a pyramid of soda cans when the doors opened and the cold hit me. Jake walked in. Same messy hair, same old leather jacket with the ripped sleeve, but thinner, tired around the eyes. He wasn't wearing gloves. For a second, we just stared at each other, like we'd both accidentally walked into the wrong life. Then he grinned. "Ethan," he said, "you still work here? That's depressing." I snorted in spite of myself. "You still say whatever pops into your head. That's consistent." We did the awkward half-hug, half-pat thing you do with old friends you're not sure you're still close to. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "We close in like 20 minutes." "I know," he said. "I need a favor, a big one." He said it light, joking, but his hands were shaking a little. "Jake, if this is about money..." "It's not," he cut in. "Well, not directly. I just need your car and you, just for a few hours." "No," I said automatically. "I'm working, and I don't feel like getting arrested tonight." His smile dropped. "It's not like that," he said. "Please, man, I'll explain on the way. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious." He looked scared, and that threw me more than anything. Jake's always been the reckless one, the guy who jumps off the bridge first to prove the water's deep enough. Seeing him nervous made the hair on my arms stand up. "Where?" I asked. "Out of town, near the lake. You know the one?" I did know it. When we were teenagers, we used to bike out to that lake in the summer to swim and drink whatever we'd stolen from our parents' cupboards. There was a cluster of old cabins there, most of them falling apart or boarded up. One belonged to this pensioner named Mr. Hale, a quiet old man who never talked to anybody and always watched us from his porch like we were about to steal his mail. "You want to go there now?" I said, "in this weather?" Snow was starting to stick to his hair and shoulders through the open doors. My breath came out in little white clouds. "Yes," he said, "tonight, before midnight. Please, Ethan. I screwed up, okay? I just need to pick up something I left there. Then we drive back, you can still make your sad noodles and watch the countdown." He tried to smile again. It didn't reach his eyes. I thought about telling him to get lost, about all the times he'd ghosted me for months, about the pictures I'd seen on social media of him with people I didn't know, in bars I'd never been to. Instead, I thought about New Year's when we were 12, standing in the snow outside our building, yelling promises at the orange sky. "If I get fired for this, you're paying my rent," I said. "You won't," he said. He sounded very sure for someone whose hands wouldn't stop shaking.
We left the store just before closing. I lied to my manager about a family emergency. He waved me off. He wanted to go home himself. Outside, the parking lot was a wide white sheet with a few lumps where cars had been. My car was one of them, a small hatchback with one headlight dimmer than the other. The air hurt my lungs. We sat inside while the engine wheezed itself awake and the heater started to cough out lukewarm air. "Okay," I said. "Explain." Jake stared out the windshield for a moment, watching the snow swirl in the headlights. "You remember those guys I was hanging around with last year?" he said. "The ones with the loud cars and the import-export business?" I asked. He huffed a laugh. "Yeah, them. I thought I could make some quick money, help my mom, get out of the bar job, you know. How'd that go?" He ran a hand over his face. "They had me hold on to some stuff for a few days, boxes. They said it was just equipment, nothing illegal. I didn't ask. I stored it in that old cabin by the lake. I still had the key from when Mr. Hale drunk gave it to us that one time. You remember?" I did. "One summer when we were 16, we helped the old man carry groceries up the hill. He'd muttered something about useless grandkids and pressed a rusted key into Jake's palm in case I fall and break my hip, and waved us away when we tried to give it back later. Anyway," Jake went on, "I stashed the boxes there. A week later, the police hit their warehouse. Everything went crazy. I panicked and cut contact. I thought if I stayed quiet, they'd forget about me, but..." He swallowed. "They didn't forget," I finished for him. He nodded. "One of them called this afternoon, very calm, very polite. Said they know I still have the key. Said they want their property back. Said if those boxes aren't in their hands by New Year's, they're gonna come find me instead." He let out a shaky breath. "I went to the lake by bus, but there's too much snow and the road's closed past the village. I tried walking, got halfway, realized I was gonna freeze. I came back. I didn't know who else to ask." "So your plan," I said slowly, "is to break into an old man's cabin in a snowstorm, grab whatever contraband you hid there for criminals, and deliver it before midnight?" "When you put it like that, it sounds stupid," he muttered. "It is stupid." He looked at me, really looked at me, and for a moment he wasn't the reckless guy who always laughed off consequences. He was a scared kid again, the one who used to bang on my door when his parents were fighting. "I know," he said quietly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. I didn't want to do it alone." There was something so raw in his face that it almost hurt to look at. "You could have called before tonight," I said. "I thought I could fix it without you, like always." We sat in silence for a minute, the heater hissing, the radio murmuring, some host talking about only 3 hours left until midnight. "Fine," I said finally. "We go, we grab the boxes, we come back. If this goes sideways, if there are people there, I'm leaving you and running, just so you know." He smiled, just a little. "Fair." The road out of the city was a tunnel of white and red, snow and taillights. As we left the last billboard behind, everything got darker, softer. Houses thinned out, trees crowded closer to the road, their branches heavy with white. Holiday lights glowed in the windows of the few houses we passed. A plastic Santa leaned at an odd angle in someone's yard, half buried. Inside the car, it smelled like cheap pine air freshener and wet clothes. We talked because the silence made every crack in the ice under the tires sound louder. He told me about the jobs he'd lost, the bar that closed, the rent he couldn't pay, how easy it had been to say yes when someone offered cash for just holding a key and a few boxes. I told him about my mom's health getting worse, about the way my life had shrunk to the path between home and the store, how I pretended I liked working holidays because it meant I didn't have to admit I had nowhere else to be. Somewhere on that dark road, under the weak light of the dashboard, We stopped being the edited versions of ourselves we usually showed each other and started being honest. I hate that cabin, I admitted, as we turned off onto a smaller road. It always creeped me out, like we were being watched from the tree line. Jake laughed quietly. Mr. Hale probably did watch us. Creepy old guy, never blinked. Is he even still alive? I asked. I don't know, he said. Last I heard, he went into some kind of care home or a hospital. I never saw anyone at the cabin in years. The road narrowed, snow higher on either side now. My wipers squeaked rhythmically. We drove past the village where the bus had turned around. Most houses here were dark, but a few had warm windows, silhouettes moving inside. For a moment, I envied those people with their tables and noise and safe traditions. Beyond the village, the road turned into a barely cleared track. We were the only car. Happy New Year, huh? Jake said softly. Not yet, I said. We still have a few hours left to ruin it completely. We had to park at the bottom of the hill. The road to the lake wasn't plowed. From there, it was a 20-minute climb through knee-high snow. The sky above us was low and heavy, a faint orange glow from the distant town reflecting off the clouds. Our breath came out in hoarse bursts. My toes went numb after 5 minutes. Snowflakes stuck to my eyelashes. By the time we reached the tree line, sweat was freezing under my shirt. The cabins by the lake sat in a loose cluster, dark shapes half swallowed by snow. The lake itself was a flat white plate disappearing into the darkness, ringed by thin black trunks. Mr. Hale's cabin was the last one, slightly apart, closer to the water. We're just in and out, I panted. Grab the boxes, go. No exploring, no, hey, remember when? Nostalgia tour, okay? Okay, Jake said. He took the key out of his pocket. It was still attached to the same faded keychain from our teenage years, a little metal star with the paint half flaked off. For some reason, that detail made my chest tighten. We climbed the warped steps to the porch. Snow creaked under our boots. Jake slid the key into the lock. Before he turned it, he froze. What? I whispered. He pointed at the door frame. There was a wreath hanging there. Not new, some of the fake berries were crushed, but carefully placed. A string of battery-powered lights was wrapped around it, the tiny bulbs off now, their plastic surfaces dusted with snow. Someone had put up decorations. Thought you said no one was here, I murmured. I didn't see this when I came earlier, he said. Maybe I missed it. I was in a hurry. Or maybe whoever put it there had arrived after he left. The thought hung between us like cold air. He swallowed and turned the key. The lock opened smoothly. No frozen resistance, no crack of ice breaking. Someone had been using it. We stepped inside. The first thing that hit me was the heat. Not cozy radiator heat, a heavy, stale warmth that smelled of old wood, dust, and something else underneath. The second thing was the sound, a soft, constant murmur from somewhere deeper in the cabin. Not voices exactly, like a radio turned down low or a television set in the next room. Jake closed the door behind us, shutting out the white world. The cabin was lit only by a single lamp on a side table, its shade stained and crooked. In its weak yellow light, I could see that the place was lived in. Not the way we remembered it. Empty beer bottles, graffiti on the walls, dead insects in the corners, but tidy. A blanket folded over the back of the couch, dishes stacked by the sink, a pair of boots by the door, lined up neatly. This isn't right, I whispered. Jake's face had gone pale. The boxes are in the back room, he said hoarsely. We grab them and go. We don't touch anything else. The murmur from the other room continued, a steady, static-filled drone. We walked down the narrow hallway, our footsteps loud on the worn floorboards. The door to the back room was half open. Jake pushed it with his foot. Inside, stacked against the far wall, were 3 cardboard boxes with the logo torn off, still taped shut. He let out a shaky breath. See, they're here. We're good. What about that? I asked, nodding toward the corner. There was an old television set on a low table,
the kind with a thick glass front and dials turned toward the middle of the room. It was on, but not showing anything recognizable, just rolling static, black and white snow on the screen, the source of the whispering hiss. In front of the TV, there was a chair. On the chair was a blanket, draped as if someone had just gotten up. Jake licked his lips. "Maybe Mr. Hale came back," he said weakly. "Maybe he's just old and weird now. But not here, not right now." I wasn't entirely sure about that. The hairs on the back of my neck were standing up like static. "Help me with the boxes," he said. "Please." We each grabbed a side of the first box and lifted. It was heavy, whatever was inside shifting dully. As we turned toward the door, my eyes landed on the wall behind the TV. There were pictures pinned there, dozens of them, overlapping. Some were printed on photo paper, some on cheap office paper, some yellowed with age, all slightly curled at the corners. At first, I thought they were random, landscapes maybe, or old family shots. Then I recognized a face, mine.
Me at 16, shirtless and skinny, at the edge of the lake, holding a cheap firework like a sword. Me at 12, on my bike, Jake next to me, both of us grinning at something off camera. Me last summer, unlocking the door to the apartment building where I live now, from across the street. My grip on the box tightened. "Jake," I said. "What?" "Look." He turned. His mouth fell open. He was there too, in dozens of those pictures, laughing, smoking, throwing a snowball. In some shots we were together. In some we were apart, taken from a distance, as if whoever held the camera was hiding. In one photo, taken through a shop window, I was at work, stacking shelves. The timestamp at the bottom corner said November. This is messed up," Jake breathed. I stepped closer. Some of the older photos were clearly from our teenage years, the style of our clothes, the haircuts. Others were more recent. A few had dates scribbled on the edges in shaky handwriting. 31/12, 01/01, 31/12 again. Always around New Year's. Pen near the top was a smaller piece of paper folded in half. Our handwriting. I knew it instantly. Jagged, all-caps letters from when we were kids. I pulled it free carefully and opened it. Inside were 2 columns. On the left, in blue ink, was Ethan, New Year's promises. Move out, get a better job, don't leave Jake behind. On the right, in black ink, Jake, New Year's promises. Quit smoking, stop stealing stupid stuff, don't let Ethan go without me. We'd written that list when we were 14 on a napkin outside our building, daring each other to be honest. We'd stuffed it into a crack in the wall near the playground, laughing. Seeing it here in this cabin, penned like a butterfly, made my skin crawl. "Ethan," Jake whispered. "We left that back home. How?" Behind us, a floorboard creaked in the hallway. Not under our feet, outside the room. We both froze. The TV hissed. The box in our hands suddenly felt 10 times heavier. "Maybe it's just the house settling," Jake whispered, but his voice wobbled. "Old houses settle. Old houses don't breathe." We heard it then, a soft, slow inhale not far away. Someone was standing in the doorway. Very slowly, we turned our heads. Mr. Hale stood there. He looked smaller than I remembered, hunched inside a worn sweater, his white hair longer, his face a map of wrinkles. His eyes, though, were exactly the same as when we were kids, sharp, unblinking. He looked at us, at the box, at the wall of photos. "Breaking and entering on New Year's of all nights," he rasped. My mouth dried. "Mr. Hale," Jake said, We thought you were in a home. They said," "People say many things, most of them lies. Put that down." We lowered the box slowly. He shuffled into the room, the air of heat and dust shifting around him. "You came back," he said, more to himself than to us. Every year you said you would. Every year you broke your promises until you finally crawled back with your tail between your legs. He glanced at the list in my hand. Look at you now, he said softly. Still can't leave each other. Something in his tone made my stomach twist. What is all this? I asked, nodding at the wall. These pictures, how did you... I watched, he said simply. It's what I do. I watch the ones who think no one sees them. The boys who swear to the sky they'll get out and then sleepwalk through their lives until they're old and bitter like me. He stepped closer. The TV hissed louder, as if trying to fill the silence. You made promises on my hill, year after year. You shouted them into my trees, into my roof. You thought no one heard, but I heard. His eyes were shining now, feverish. You're crazy, Jake said, a little too loudly. We're just taking what's ours and leaving. I wished he hadn't said that. Mr. Hale's gaze snapped to the boxes. That isn't yours, he said. Those men came with their cars and their loud voices and asked if they could use my cabin. They paid me. They said a young man would hold a key for them. They pointed at you. He jabbed a finger at Jake. I said no. I don't like strangers. They told me it was too late, that it was already decided. He smiled then, a small, unpleasant thing. But I know a lost boy when I see one, he said. I watched you come. I watched you stash their rot in my walls. I watched you try to be a criminal and a coward at the same time. He took another step, close enough now that I could see the veins in his eyes. You don't get to bring that here and leave it, he hissed. You don't get to poison my lake with your mess. If you bring something in on New Year's, you take something out. He looked at me. And you, he said, you promised not to leave him behind. My throat closed. He nodded toward the boxes. Take them, he said. Both of you. Carry them back. Hand them to the men who own them. Look them in the eye when you do it. Then maybe you'll live long enough to see another New Year. Or, Jake whispered, or you die here with your lies, Mr. Hale said matter-of-factly, and I add 2 more pictures to my wall. Outside, faint through the walls, we heard distant fireworks, someone in the village starting early, bursts of light we couldn't see. Inside, the TV's static rose and fell like a crowd cheering. Jake looked at me. His bravado was gone. He looked like he might be sick. I'm sorry, he said. Not to Mr. Hale, to me. I know, I said. My voice surprised me. It was calm. Maybe because I realized, standing there between the wall of our lives and the old man's unblinking eyes, that this was the first real choice I'd had in a long time. Run now, leave Jake, hope Mr. Hale was bluffing, hope those men never found me, or help him carry the weight he dragged to this place, like we should have done with other things years ago. Okay, I said. We do it. We take them back, all of them. Jake stared at me like he couldn't quite believe it. Mr. Hale watched us for a long moment, then nodded once. Midnight won't wait. If you're not off my hill by then, you stay. He shuffled back down the hallway into the dim light of the front room, leaving us alone with the hiss of the television and our younger faces on the wall. We carried the boxes out, one by one, our muscles burning, our breath harsh in the cold air. As we stepped off the porch with the last one, the little wreath above the door flickered to life, its tiny bulbs glowing weakly red and green. Happy New Year, Jake muttered. Not yet. We still have a few promises to keep. We made it back to the city just before midnight. What happened with the men who owned those boxes is a different story. Uglier, sharper, not something I like to tell. We handed them their property. They took it and looked right through us, already thinking about the next deal. To them, we were just scared kids, not worth wasting bullets on. We got lucky, again. Later, standing outside my building while fireworks exploded over the roofs,
Jake lit a cheap sparkler like we used to. "Let's do it," he said. "Do what?" "Say it. Out loud. One thing. Just one. No more lists we never read again." He looked at me, eyes bright in the strobing light. "I'm going to actually grow up this year. Get a real job. Pay my debts. Stop pretending everything's a joke." He let the sparkler hiss between his fingers. "What about you?" he asked. I looked up at the sky. I thought about Mr. Hale, alone in that cabin with his wall of broken promises and his television snow, waiting for someone to keep theirs for once. "I'm going to stop sleepwalking, and I'm not leaving you behind this time. Not if you're really trying." He nodded. We didn't shout it to the empty street like we used to. We just stood there while the sky burned and the city shouted, "Happy New Year!" And for the first time in a long time, I felt something that wasn't just fear or numbness. It felt a little like being 14 again, shivering in the snow, believing that saying a thing out loud might make it real. The cabin is still there. Sometimes, when the year turns and the first fireworks go off in the distance, I hear the hiss of static in my head and see that wall of photos. I wonder how many other boys made promises on that hill. How many of them kept them? How many of them didn't?